You know, when I look at that radar kind of move across the screen there, is it a fair assessment to say that most of the severe stuff will remain on the North Shore, or is that too hard to judge at this point?
No, it does look like that is going to be the trend. We've seen that from our high resolution models today, and that was something that was highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center. They were called meso discussions, where they kind of deep dive into the active severe weather, and these are not the watches, these are those meso discussions. And notice it's primarily for the North Shore and into Mississippi especially. These are the areas of greatest threat for the intense to violent tornadoes going forward. So even the Storm Prediction Center and the model trend does look to be that a bit more of a focus. And again, I don't want to say that that means in the metro area you can go out, do whatever. This is still something we need to pay attention to very closely through the afternoon. But certainly it looks like more activity will develop north of the lake.
And it can pop up pretty quickly, whether you're on the north or
very
south.
quickly. That sometimes we only get a few minutes notice that these storms become rotating storms, and then a few minutes later it's showing indications that it is dropping a tornado. So yes, sometimes we only have a few minutes. What is more anxiety about severe weather is that all we can do is tell you the ingredients are there, the atmosphere is primed, we will definitely get strong storms. Whether or not they become strong to severe or reach the limits of severe weather is an unknown, and exactly where they form is an unknown.
And we haven't had a lot of focus right now down on the bayou parishes at this point.
Very quiet right now. This is a look at radar, and I'll kind of zoom in a little bit more on our bayou parishes. It's been very quiet. Again, the line is a little bit weaker the farther south you go. Well, we've had maybe a few showers, maybe some brief isolated downpours move across the bayou parishes. Not too much, although it is now getting a bit closer to Thibodaux. So western Lafourche Parish now getting in on some of those more intense storms, and those continue kind of along the line itself is moving east, but these storms themselves are riding along that boundary. So now we're getting the storms moving out of Thibodaux and Lafourche to then more into St. James, St. Charles Parish, St. James, St. John Parish, as they continue along that boundary kind of up toward Lake Maurepas, and then eventually continue into the North Shore.
When it comes to the more severe parts of this system, where in our viewing area would you say is the next big focal point?
Well, I don't want to discount even these storms that are moving out of Morgan City, Donaldsonville, so a little bit of a focus will be ongoing in our river parishes. So St. James right now, where we have though seen more of the active storms are these that have been moving out of St. Helena and Livingston Parish. And then initially Tangier Parish, this line will be moving east. So as it does so, then the focus will be more on Washington and St. Tammany Parish.
That big cell that kind of pushed out of Louisiana into Mississippi, a couple of hours ago, has that completely dissipated, or where is that now?
No, well, I don't know if this is exactly the same cell, but notice we still are getting confirmed tornado reports now moving toward, say, Collins, Mississippi, Taylorsville, Bay Springs. We're starting to get a little bit out of the range of even our radar as we move farther north and east along that line. But this was definitely going to be the focus. And remember, Hattiesburg to Jackson, so not too far removed from our immediate viewing area, we're under that high risk level 5, which is very rare. You don't see the Storm Prediction Center place areas under a level 5 very often. That usually is once every few years do you see that. And they don't do that just, as kind of a, we'll do it to err on the side of caution. There is a lot of work and effort and forecasting and confidence that goes into issuing those level 5 threats. And that's exactly where, so far over the last couple of hours, we have seen these confirmed tornado reports kind of spreading deeper into Mississippi.
And Aaron, our producer, I don't know if you can hear me, if you can pull up the video that the new video that we have out of Kentwood there, and I want Chris, if he's able to look at it, just to kind of, when you think about the damage, like we saw in Eleanor's live shot there, and that's with the sheriff's office. There's some other video as well. But you look at the damage strewn about on people's front yards, then you see trees snapped. How long does it usually take for folks from the National Weather Service to kind of get out there and on the ground to survey all of this?
They're not going to do that, unfortunately, until at the earliest tomorrow. They are right now in kind of their forecast warning mode, where they're more worried about the ongoing storms. And then after that, and again, you want to start cleaning up immediately, so they'll base a lot of their initial assessments on videos like this, pictures that are taken from local officials. and then they will go out and assess. They'll actually use drones. They'll use GIS, which is graphic information systems for mapping. This is a live look out of Macomb from a traffic camera there. We can actually kind of look up at the storms. Nothing severe, but certainly some intense rainfall there north of Magnolia toward Macomb. So that's kind of what visibilities are like within some of these heavier thunderstorms, where visibilities are dramatically reduced. Thankfully, at least at this time, no severe weather, no, let's see, the rotation, very, very weak along that line south from Macomb toward Magnolia, then deeper into Kentwood. There is some indication of rotation in Kentwood within some of these heavier thunderstorms. I'm kind of hoping now you've got a lot of officials and a lot of folks out there assessing the damage, be able to get into, there not too many structures where they are, but I'm also speaking to our team, Eleanor Tabone, Troy Toops. Make sure you're able to get into the car and pay attention to these storms. Not that there is anything jumping out with regards to a tornado, but what we're likely seeing is more of the line, because you can kind of see that that is not a couplet. When you see the green and red, that line, that just means the winds are coming either toward the radar, which is in Hammond, and then moving away from the radar, and that's kind of what we're looking as the leading edge of those storms rolling into Kentwood. So while not necessarily tornadic, certainly some very strong winds just now pushing into the Kentwood area. So good idea for a lot of those folks that are out now assessing the damage to get in. Going back to your question, Mike, with the Weather Service folks to then go and actually survey the damage, they will go, and it's kind of painstaking. They have to go out and physically look at where they think the tornado touched down. They will basically canvass the entire square mileage of where they think that tornado went. But we can also use drones now and get a better idea of where the path might be. And then, as I'd mentioned a little bit earlier, is that tornadoes are not rated based on when they are on the ground. They are rated after the fact based on how much damage they caused. They do take into account what types of structures were damaged. They look at trees. If they're all fallen in the same direction, that might be more straight line winds. If they're in various directions, that indicates rotation, so more indicative of a tornado. So we probably won't get that confirmed until tomorrow at the earliest, Mike.
Of course, the good news right now is the Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff saying no serious injuries reported, mainly just a lot of damage. They are doing some searches of homes just to clear those out right now. So that's some good news coming from the severe weather. We, of course, will continue to track this throughout the day. If we need to break into programming, we will do it, of course, to keep you safe. And also be sure to join us on WWL Plus at 5 o'clock. We will have a streaming newscast for you there. Until then, we'll get you back to programming.
This has been a severe weather alert from WWL Weather, sponsored by Egan Insurance Agency.